Loved monsters. Famous monsters. Legendary monsters.
Hello.
But did you know there exist monsters that are real, official, but completely unknown? Monsters that I bet you've never even heard of. Monsters that I will reveal only for you to go, what? I've never heard of that, because as I just said, you've probably never heard of them, seen them, smelt them, or even stabbed them a little bit. Disclaimer, in a world where there is obviously thousands of people watching this across the length and breadth of the Monster Hunter fandom, there will of course be a couple people who have in fact actually heard of this monster. The goal here is for a majority of, not a complete 100%, as that is impossible. Thank you. Alright, so I thought this would be fun to do a little mini-series on probably the most obscure, out there, weird, unknown monsters that are still technically part of the Monster Hunter world. Some of them will be literally mainline monsters that I bet you've just completely forgotten about and will only remember because I bring them up. Some of them will be, well, like the one today, a collab from a game released 11 years ago that randomly got an original monster created for it.
You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
So think of this similar to our in-depth look at the ancient, extinct monsters, or in the case of the ancient serpent, perhaps not so extinct, but all suddenly terrifying, and all would certainly be incredible to fight, if not again, terrifying. These ones, however, have all been, technically speaking, hunted in some form or another, even if, well, the method of hunting today is a bit more along the lines of seeing a velociprey and going, I have the one-stop fix-this-all solution to this monster problem. And that's the hint that you're gonna get. So, can you guess it? Can you guess it? Alright, here we go! Welcome, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker!
The military. In 1974, as if taking advantage of the nation's lack of deterrence, an unknown power initiated weapons deployment in the region. Their identity and true motives remain unknown.
Yes, this is, well, obviously a game in the Metal Gear Solid line, and it is a game that got a Monster Hunter crossover. One that wasn't so easy to access. But first, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, of course, one of the mainline Metal Gear games, and for all intents and purposes, a pretty good one. Though I do, to my shame, admit that I am not the biggest Metal Gear player, and really have only played like one or two of them that I can remember.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
But without further ado on the context then, let's take you through the actual, well, the whole shebang. So there was a series of hunting quests added to the missions in Peace Walker, and they let you actually battle and defeat a few of the large monsters from the Monster Hunter series. Now, you can unlock them by meeting Trenya, yes, our intrepid treasure seeker, if you play as Snake in the Playa de Alba. Quite the beautiful location and perfect for some Monster Hunter stabby, stabby, stabby. So, he comes from, obviously, Freedom Unite. He lives in Poke Village, and he owns Poke Farm that he entrusts with you, and is thus traveling with a Monster Hunter sale for, well, finding interested buyers. One such, well, non-interested is Snake, who he thinks looks like a Monster Hunter based on his killer eyes, and he promises to take Snake to a mysterious island filled with rare creatures, even more rare than the talking cat that Trenya is.
You're not exactly an ordinary yourself. Not to be rude, but I've got things to do, so if you need someone to go monster hunting with you, find someone else.
So indeed, he does go to this island, and it's the Isla del Monstruo, which is the Isle of Monsters. And on that isle, you indeed do fight 3 monsters. There is a Rathalos for you to quite literally gun down, and that is really kind of awesome to see, is it not? Then past that, you get an even more step up of a challenge, because you find yourself facing a goddamn Tigrex, which is just, I mean, come on, like, you're just, I mean, I know Snake isn't normal, but, like, come on, it just feels, like, so outmatched. I mean, yes, proper modern guns should do a real number even to monsters, but also he's launching boulders bigger than you at them, which is bone-breakingly destructive. There's also Velociprey everywhere, which, let's be honest, just are Utahraptors, or Velociraptors as they were portrayed in Jurassic Park, and they, by themselves, are already a deadly threat to an untrained monster hunter, though I guess you really can't call Snake untrained, but in any case, it was quite the fearsome fight. But there was a climax, a climactic climax, an incredibly climactic climax, and this was against a new monster for this crossover. And that monster is... the Gear-Rex! Look at it! A big old stabby tail that, by the way, shoots beams of red acid covered in spikes that it can detach, launch at you. They embed in the ground and then they explode when it roars. Kinda naturalery. It's basically a big old spiky Brute Wyvern with one hell of a set of jaws. It bites, it charges, it stomps, it's got tiny little arms that can't do anything. It is essentially, yeah, a Brute Wyvern custom made for Metal Gear Solid. And it is known as the Steel Fang King Nuclear Dragon! Which is quite the mouthful, isn't it? And quite the impressive title to indeed hold. It's hard to even make sense of this creature. It really, really is. Like, it's so wide as well. The horns coming off it, if you can call them that, 2 of each. It really tries to do all it can to get you from tail sweeps and the usual you might imagine. It's got a weird looking spine ridge going down it. It almost kind of looks a little bit like an old man monster with the lower white half of the jaw getting kind of a beard look, but just seeing grenades be lobbed at it, just seeing constant tranquilizers be fired into it, because that's how you eventually stop it. You put it to sleep once you have filled it with enough of the tranking juice, and you can get carves and rewards for all of these, which in turn unlock things for you in a game, and it's just... It's just really ridiculous. Like, of all the things, this Gear-Rex in a kind of subtle side mission that you can do in Metal Gear Solid. It does kind of bring up the what if monster hunters were actually real. Well, the monsters in Monster Hunter were actually real. Like, if they actually faced a military or modern weaponry or trained personnel, how that would actually go down. And I feel like the answer a lot of the time is not exactly great, but you never know. So one day if you see our good old friend Trenya walk up to you and invite you to an island of monsters, well, I mean, maybe think very, very carefully about accepting. And of course, you can get a uniform, ergo armor, based on this monster. So there you go, guys, the Gear-Rex. Do you like him? Do you like him? Would you want to see him again? Did you already know about him? It's entirely possible it's just me who had no idea about him, but that's okay. It's fun to talk about. And let me know if you'd like, well, another episode in this series of completely random unknown monsters, because there is a fair few to go over. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more. Please consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. It is literally what keeps us going, and without your amazing support, we wouldn't be here. Every little is appreciated more than I can say. Truly, thank you. I will see you then next time. Oh, good boy.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice. to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage is, goodbye.